Welcome to the Story Shack with Jake and Zack. My name is Jake.
And I am Zack. Welcome.
Your voice sounds so much more radio-like than mine.
Oh, that's when I put a little emphasis in it.
I also meant to, when I was saying it, I meant to do like a radio-type voice, and then my mind just completely slipped. So
does it sound like I'm on old-time radio? Like
well,
that?
hey there, gumshoes.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, I've often thought about that's a little too fake for me. The way that I was speaking from what you just said to speak to this real quick was me having actual inflection, because I'm pretty just monotone or straight face with stuff that I don't bother with that, and enunciating a little bit more, just so that listeners can hear. I hope.
Well, I'm just going to slur every word that I say and mumble.
We could do a drunk podcast
well.
one of these days.
Have you not been drunk these last few? No.
Oh, man, this is going to be a rough one.
This is going to be a rough one.
We'll kick up your feet, warm yourself by the fire. Maybe grab a book. Well, no, don't grab a book yet. Let's listen.
You're going to want that fire.
Tale. Yeah, definitely.
You're definitely going to want that fire.
Definitely for this one. Oh yeah, definitely. Yes, this one.
Why don't you give us the thermometers, and then I've got some comments to make right off the bat.
All right. My paper here with my few bulleted notes. The Thing is our movie for today of Then and Now, Now and Then. So we went with the original 1982. And we'll also be discussing the remake 2011 of The Thing. Starting off with Rotten Tomatoes, what it tells us, the thermometer score, critics side of things for the original 82 was an 86%, so also pretty decent. Audience score was higher at a 92%. The remake 2011, critics said came in at a 34%, so rotten there, and 42% audience. Noticeable dip, noticeable trend among all the movies so far this month, where the remakes just can't quite cut it with either critics or audience here. I will say, I know you can chime in if you'd like, Jake. I was going to maybe read the Rotten Tomatoes stuff, just because sometimes they're entertaining, but you have any comments on the scores?
I'm disappointed.
Yeah?
I'm disappointed in those scores.
Did you like the
I fucking
remake?
Loved these movies.
You know what's funny is I really loved the original, and I hadn't seen it before, but I saw the remake before, and I really did not like the remake that much. It's entertaining. Right. I will say. I think the score might be a little low. Critics make sense, but the audience might be a little low. I think 50. So I don't know. Maybe it's a good representation of everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I too saw the remake first, like several months ago, and hadn't seen the original, but felt like there were things that were happening that I needed to know about, like that I could catch for the remake or for the original. And with this viewing, I watched the original first, and then I watched the remake, and it's not even a remake. It's a fucking prequel. It's fucking before the 1982 movie happens, and they do it so fucking seamlessly, and I loved it. Like, it was just like, it felt like a complete story to me, and that's hard to do when you've got, 30, 40 years between movies, but to have it be the prequel to the movie we saw in the 80s, I really liked the way they did everything with that. It was pretty nifty.
Okay, so
podcast over.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm trying to follow, because I did also read that same thing, that it was actually meant to be a prequel. That was the thing. I was like, what? And I see where it lines up. Right. And sorry to listeners that Jake's going to probably have to explain it to me in real time.
Oh, I'm...
My hesitation at believing this is from what I remember is in the original, the ones flying in the helicopter shooting, though, were Norwegian and had accents. Mm-hmm. So the fact that the other two guys were American that survived the end of the original Oh, dang it. I'm going in reverse.
Yeah, you are.
So, hold on. Sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Because then whoever survived at the end was...
the people in the helicopter chasing the dog in the original.
Yeah, and that's where
it all fucking ties together. And in the original, they go back to the Norwegian camp where these guys came from to see what happened, and the camp's all destroyed and torn to shit, and there's an axe in the wall that, and like everything that they do in the prequel is there in the 1982 version.
That makes it cooler.
It's so fucking cool.
Damn it. Okay, I like that movie a little bit more now just because they did that.
Yeah.
For some reason I was like, what?
Like I remember hearing that after I watched the remake, because I always read IMDb trivias, and that was in there that like things were tied into the original, and I was like, huh, that's cool. I should probably check those out one day. So because I'd seen the remake a couple months ago, I watched the original first and was like, oh shit, all of this plays into it. And I honestly, out of the movies we've watched this last month, the things are it for me. I really enjoyed them.
Yeah, if I had to pick a set, now that you mentioned that I liked the most, kind of like independently but together, I'd say that too.
Yeah.
Even though I probably... No, I don't even know if I like the Friday the 13th remake better than this remake. They're all kind of on the same level. Yeah. That's the thing for me. Yeah. But then I mean, obviously, Nightmare on Elm Street, as I think I previously said, has kind of a spot in my heart, or whatever, you know, a special place there. But I liked how they did the original. I've also always liked Kurt Russell as an actor. Yeah. And I can't believe I never saw this just on that. Yeah. That fact alone. And so the way I saw it was, again, because it was older, but at least it was in the 80s for the original. It kind of had a slow start, but it was more like slow and intriguing. Like it kept my attention. Yeah. Because this dog just comes in randomly, and then the guy gets shot, and they're stitching him up. There's mysteries to everything. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, okay. And then they show the thing being weird as the dog, and then you're like, what the fuck is it? And then it was a roller coaster.
It kept escalating.
There was stuff, yeah, and it was like that. It was like peaks and valleys, but kept going up and up, because you'd be like, okay, well, they took care of it, but it's only halfway through the movie. Right. There's more that's going to come. Or they missed something. But then sometimes I was like, I don't know what they missed, really. Right. Which is it? Is it that there's another person that's already a thing? Right. And so just I also have there's a special place in my little heart chambers there for special effects that are creepy. Yeah.
Oh, those
the way they did the special, even though some of them are obviously plastic or wax or whatever that stuff material, it just looks so wrong and bad that I can even picture it happening. It's believable enough.
We've talked about it before that, you know, you don't have to go too crazy with it, but to just make it unnatural enough. And I mean, they do go kind of overboard with it, but not to the point where it's not believable. It's more of a too hard to watch kind of thing, rather than being grossed out. It's more just disturbing. Yeah, and they play that element so nicely in both of these. I'm talking about them as one movie because it just feels to me like one movie.
Yeah, they did a good job with what they were doing and how they did it in the remake. I just really did not feel like for 2011 that the CGI was up to par.
Oh yeah, not
and
I
just thought it would have been nice if they, and maybe they did do this, I just couldn't tell, if they did maybe a mix of, because I've seen that done where they kind of have special effects that are actually and physical puppets. And then or puppets or something. Yeah.
So They have like the creep factor, the monster factor behind it, but they've also got this kind of underlying whodunit trust issue, psychological kind of horror where you don't know who the bad guy is. And I really, really liked that element of it because it just kind of pits every man for himself, and you know, anybody could be the thing.
Yeah. That's what makes it creepy. And I've never been a big, say, mystery or spy thriller, you know, whatever. I like playing the game Clue, but I don't know if I would. I like there's the movie, but
Yeah.
I mean, like an actual.
That'll be the next one. We're gonna go board games versus the movies they're based on.
We'll do that.
We'll do Angry Birds and Jumanji.
Angry Birds has a movie, yeah. Oh man, but having the psychological aspect of it and the horror aspect, and then having like who done it or who is it is always weird. You know which another movie that does that is Dreamcatcher.
Yeah.
Because you're at a certain point you know who, but there's parts of it where you're like, oh, I don't know if he's the alien thing. Yeah.
Right.
So
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. Just wake me up when you're done. What? I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I mean, those are my main two notes on the original. Was I put incredibly creepy effects.
Yeah.
Just because I really enjoyed all of it every time.
Right.
And then the pacing felt kind of slow, but it was like for 30 or 40 minutes, and then the next hour was just up and down, like I already said, and it was so entertaining.
Yeah.
It was good. It was
agreed.
Yeah.
John Carpenter.
Yeah. Man.
So do you want some fun facts?
Yeah, let's do some fun facts.
Okay. So from what I remember reading, I'm pretty sure this is fairly accurate, but nobody quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure. The director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre was pretty close to directing The Thing.
Ooh, really?
And he basically made it as like a Moby Dick, Captain Ahab taking on a monster in the Arctic, and it was going to kind of be a little slapsticky and not super scary, or I think as dark and kind of creepy as it is. But like they didn't want John Carpenter to do it because he wasn't a big enough name or something when they were originally like throwing it out there.
Yeah.
But then he had, I think, Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street come out that were both fairly low budget movies that made a bunch of money. So then they were like, okay, well, we'll just let him do it because he's a moneymaker, and kind of took that away from Tobe Hooper.
Is that his name?
Hooper or Hopper? Hooper. I hope there's no horror fanboys or fangirls that are listening that can just yell at me in the comments. But do. I'd kind of like that.
Yeah, please.
I'd enjoy you to correct us on our mistakes.
Oh, yeah, definitely tell us where you think we're wrong.
We probably should have said that on
right.
the very first episode.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe that's something we could put in at the end.
Yeah.
For instance.
Feel free to email our corrections department because we don't know everything. We're learning.
Okay. So I'm double checking. I was like, the Halloween, The Fog for John Carpenter.
Right.
Or Ghost to Mars. But, okay. Well, the correction I was going to make was you said Nightmare. But I was like, I thought that was Wes Craven unless John Carpenter helped produce.
Right. Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure. I was like, maybe he produced it and I can't.
So it was Nightmare on Elm Street and I think The Hills Have Eyes. I think those were the two that he had done.
That who
previously. John Carpenter.
No, you were right about Halloween.
Oh.
It's Halloween, not Nightmare.
Okay.
Wait, I don't see...
Wait, Wes Craven did Nightmare. So it was Halloween and The Hills Have Eyes.
I'm also not seeing Hills Have Eyes. Yeah, Wes Craven. So you had that. So it's Wes Craven for Nightmare. And I used to get them mixed up too, though, before. Until I realized, John Carpenter's done a couple other things. I can't remember now. I made
okay, so maybe it was The Fog. Oh, John Carpenter's still alive.
Yeah.
Good for him.
All right, so correction.
Yeah.
Wes Craven did Nightmare and Hills Have Eyes, but John Carpenter did do Halloween, like you said.
Okay. Yeah, I think he did.
And
he did Halloween and Escape from New York. I think those were the two. Those were the two big ones before The Thing that they were like, all right, we'll give him $15 million and see what he does.
Yeah. They always need some way to justify it.
Yeah.
Because they gotta make money. I get it.
But one of the producers said that if Tobe Hopper would have made The Thing, it would have been one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It sounds like it would have had maybe like the vibe of, I get the Moby Dick thing, like, okay, good, but the vibe of, God, what am I thinking? Of the later, like, Night of the Living Deads.
Yeah.
They get kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, there's a style about that I'm fine with for those things. But compared to what this actually was, if it was something more like that or worse, it would have been really bad.
Right.
I can totally imagine that.
One more fun fact, and then I think that's all the fun facts I actually have.
For this one? Yeah.
For this one. I can't pronounce his name. Ennio Morricone, the composer, who I believe did a bunch of spaghetti westerns. This is one of the few movies that John Carpenter didn't do the score for, because he did the Halloween score and he likes to score his own movies. But this guy, and whatever his name is, do you have it up?
Wait, for what? For the thing?
Yeah, for the original.
Who are you looking for?
No Macaroni.
Oh, like that name. Is it one of the... But is it the cast, or that's what I'm trying, like,
he's the IMDb composer.
The actual composer, so that might be... I always forget where they put that.
Cast and crew.
Is it the full? Hold, please. Not composer.
Ennio Morricone.
Oh, yeah. Ennio Morricone.
Ennio Morricone. Anyways, he's a composer, and he did The Thing, one of the few times that John Carpenter didn't score his own movies. And a lot of the unused bits from The Thing that they didn't use in 1982 were used in The Hateful Eight.
Okay, I was just seeing he did Hateful Eight composer, so okay.
Yeah. So
nice.
he does the good things. I'm going to stop doing the Italian accent.
Yeah, he does good work, so
yeah.
That's respectable.
Yeah.
It was good. All that's... Oh, man, Antarctica, right, was the setting.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I love snow. I love snow movies. It's kind of like the desert to me. I mean, it is like the desert, but just a different temperature, where it's just kind of that flat, dry, wind kind of...
Are you telling me snow is cold?
Yeah, snow is
it's a
cold.
lower temperature?
Yeah, than sand.
Next you're going to tell me it's made out of water or something.
I'm not an idiot, Zach.
Yeah, come on.
But yeah, I loved that setting, and I feel like that setting would be hard to do now, just because it's become so iconic for The Thing. Like, it'd be really easy to keep doing movies where, like, some random alien was found in the ice and then attacks people, but they don't really do it
Prometheus?
anymore. Oh yeah, Prometheus. Okay.
That was done later. Or, well, when did that come out? Was that around the remake of The Thing?
Might have been.
2011. I feel like it was only a few years ago, but they've done like 2 other movies, right?
Yeah.
Since Prometheus, so
At least one.
it might have been 2012, might have been 2010. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it might have been before that, because then I think the AVP stuff was coming out after that. The new AVP. No, sorry, 'cause there was 2. There was an original. Never mind. So the body horror, we talked about body horror previously on one or whatever, which one of the other podcasts. Listen if you haven't already. Body horror is just what a lot of this is about too, because it makes me feel weird physically.
Yeah.
And they got me with the first woman who in the remake who was the Thing, and she took her in the other room. I was like, this could be a trap. But then just the whole time I was like, well, this is really believable. And then as soon as she had her back turned to her for too long, I was like, oh, it's gonna happen right now.
Yeah.
And then that looked really bad to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, with the CGI.
Wasn't the best.
Yeah. The one that looked pretty good was them melding the heads together.
Yeah.
That looked pretty good.
Which is the first thing they grab in the original.
Yeah, they see
and
that.
As soon as they started like melding those faces together, I was like, oh, there it is. That's the, Yeah, I had a panic attack when I was watching. A good panic attack. Yeah. A happy panic attack. A happy attack.
A happy attack.
The one that got me in the remake was when they're leaving in the helicopter and the one guy is like sick but it's actually the other guy that's the thing.
Yes,
spoilers. And
that
his
got me.
eye just kind of falls down a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, there's some stuff where it's like I should have been second guessing it, but I really bought into it. I can't remember if it was actually this or one of the other movies. I think it was one of these. I literally jumped at something. I can't remember which part it was. It really got me. I don't remember. I wish I remembered now.
Right.
But yeah, so the body horror is just crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a nitpick. The original, and we say original remake, but now I know it was actually a prequel. So the 1982, The Thing, doesn't really go into this too much because, well, there's bloody clothes and there's like the clothes that are not being, they don't go too much into the science of it, where they try to add that in the prequel 2011 one. Which is fine. There's some of that. There's like with the testing blood, so I shouldn't.
Right. Well, and then the fillings fall out.
The fillings fall out. Yeah, some of that was fine. The thing that maybe you can tell me how this would have worked. I started finding those things to nitpick about. Of this doesn't make sense, guys. Come on. Even though this is a completely made up movie and story and premise, and aliens aren't real. I mean, my question was why when the Thing takes one of the other people, does it wear the same clothes that they were just wearing? I feel like every time they were wearing the same exact clothes. Couldn't tell.
I can't give you an answer on that. I know.
Oh, go ahead.
You go. You finish your thing.
Well, I was going to say, the reason why I mentioned that specifically is since it can't replicate inorganic material. Is wool and polyester supposed to be organic then? But then metal fillings is technically, I don't know if I'm way off on
so
science here.
Here's
it's a natural mineral, not mineral, but like metal.
All right, so here's the best way that I can kind of describe it or explain it. The Thing, God, I wish it had a real name, because calling it the Thing is just so weird. The Thing is a living organism that its main goal is to just survive.
Yeah.
So it will do whatever necessary to blend in and not call attention to itself. And like there's part of that psychology there that if you were infected by it or got it, you yourself wouldn't even know if you were the Thing. Like it's not necessarily taking over your brain and making you do things, but it could be infecting you. So, you know,
there's two things to this, to chime in here.
Yeah.
There's the thought of, well, if just some of its cells get into my cells, it'll just start replicating and basically take over. So that makes sense. But didn't they cut it open and it looked like it was replicating within? Or it had taken in the Thing and it was going to eventually it was changing all the cells and was probably just going to appear to be the Thing. That's the way or the Thing, but the actual person, the Thing becomes the person.
The other explanation that I have is I know it happened a few times. I don't know if it happened every time, but there will be subtle differences in their clothes. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, they'll have a newer coat or, you know, they'll be just changing or something. It's one of those things that I want to go back and rewatch it now because
I might
at the very end of the original. So that we'll get to that question. But who of the two guys at the end do you think is the Thing, or do you think both of them are? Because I've read and heard a lot of various theories on it, and I honestly don't know.
Yeah,
that's
the point.
Yeah, it's very ambiguous. I know that Childs is apparently wearing a new coat that doesn't seem to be worn too heavily. So that could be a clue. I've heard that there was a scene when they're doing the blood test, they purposefully lit it that the people that were infected didn't have eye lights and everybody else did. And in the final shot, Kurt Russell has eye light and Childs doesn't.
Oh, eye light?
Yeah.
They mentioned that? How did I miss that? Okay.
Well, not in the movie, but
just people noticed.
Yeah, the IMDb trivia and all that shit. The cinematographer purposefully kept the lights out of people who were infected's eyes, and that's one kind of subtle way that you can tell.
So then the idea is it's most likely child's. That is.
Right.
Which
and
is what I was leaning towards.
I think Kurt Russell even has an earring in, too, which, if you look at the prequel, helps answer that question of...
I thought about that, too.
Yeah.
But I know it wasn't really established in that movie, so I wasn't thinking too much of it being an important factor.
Oh, that was the other thing. So there's apparently a scene earlier where Kurt Russell is making, like, Molotov cocktails.
Uh-huh.
And the other theory is that the scotch or whatever he gave him was actually gasoline, to see if he would notice if it was gasoline or not. And that's kind of why he laughs for a second of like, like, I caught you, you son of a bitch. But I don't know. It's all very speculative and theoretical.
Wait, I'm trying to follow that. I can't remember that. So he laughs at it that's when they're tossing him in the rooms, right?
No, this is the very, very end, where he hands him the drink.
Oh, to drink.
And then he takes a swig of it, and Kurt Russell kind of does his little smile smirk. Why don't we just stay here and see what happens, kind of thing. So I don't know. It's up for interpretation. Why don't you tell us in the comments below what you think?
Yeah.
Or in the reviews, or just hit us up on Twitter or wherever. Wish we could have a pop-up box.
I have some other details that go against, like, I don't know if it's a continuity issue. Not really. It's how's this logically make sense with
Okay,
because I actually have, it looks like 3 things. We mentioned one already with the clothes. The other is, why would the alien... Oh, this was just like this is dumb. So on its ship, on the prequel one, when they're on that ship, it's not able to move around the ship that easily. In that, right? It tries to go down that part that she goes down.
right.
Or yeah, that's her. Goes down, and then it seems like it can't. My point is, it seems like it can't get in there, and you'd think it'd be able to move around more easily on its own ship. And then it obviously comes around the other side, I guess, right? Because then it pops up. But it just seemed a little weird.
So,
wait, I also put it... Oh, it also, like, plowed through, like, and broke a part of the ship at one point.
Yeah.
Inside. Then I'm like, you could... If this was built for you, you could just go right through this little thing. Why is it so small for you? Or
well, so the explanation I have for that is that... Another theory that I've read is that the thing, nobody really knows what it looks like. And it could have infected a different alien race and then crashed its ship.
Okay.
And that's really all, because it's such an ambiguous...
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't... When it infects somebody, it doesn't just turn into one thing. It's constantly adapting and changing. So there's no real... You can't really tell what the thing looks like. So the theory is that it's not even... Like, it infected a bunch of aliens before it even got to us. Yeah. So the fact that it can't really move around the ship and it is in tight quarters and stuff, it may not be built for that.
Yeah, I thought about that too, in that I'm like, maybe another alien race crash landed here and it just happened to be on there.
Right.
And but then I'm like, why would it worry about getting to the ship and trying... Doesn't that imply it may or may not know? Either way, it may or may not know how to fly that ship. It just seemed like the exit strategy wasn't as thought out as it was. We were made to believe.
Right.
Like,
yeah. No.
Just,
the exit strategy in the original was a lot better, with him like taking parts of the helicopter to like build a ship.
Yeah, that
to do
too.
that rather than trying to get to the old one.
Yeah, which then also makes like, okay, it knows how to do this and it can do it fast. So It's also intelligent in that regard. And then you end with maybe it's just going to play the slow game and freeze out here.
Yeah.
And then come back again. That's what I was saying. I was like, that's brilliant. That seems brilliant. I really liked the original, or the first one for that.
Right. Me too.
First one that came out.
I honestly, like, I liked the remake, And then I watched the original, and then I watched the remake after the original, and that made me like the remake even more. And I like I said, I see them both as just one movie now.
Yeah. I like when stuff ties in like that.
Yeah. It's just so nice because, like, in the original, they're walking through. The one thing that stands out to me is the axe. The axe in the wall that's just there. And you're like, what the fuck happened here? And then you see it in the prequel that he stabbed the hand thing and then leave it there.
Yeah.
And it just stays there. Like, it's just such... They just tied it all together so nicely.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. And that kind of effort. Rather than trying to do like we've seen multiple times throughout this month of them, rehashing the story. They essentially did tell not the exact same story, but the other side of this story that happened in the 80s. Because, this Norwegian group gets attacked and has their whole kerfuffle that leads into us joining this other camp. And to be able to just say, hey, why don't we just show what happened, give the backstory as to what all of that led to, rather than kind of like, all right, so they're in Greenland now, right? And and just make it, stupid and ridiculous. And I'm not saying that, there weren't stupid random things about it, but I enjoy them both together and separately. But I like that they didn't just do the standard remake thing where we've got they definitely have the same kind of character types.
Yeah.
Like there's that same Kurt Russell character in the prequel.
Scientist.
They added a female, which I think was a big deal for bringing it from the 80s, because I remember reading in one part they moved everybody outside for some exposition scene just because it was, 6 guys in a room talking for a good chunk of the movie. So let's just move them outside and change it up a little bit.
Yeah, when they're just like talking for a little bit outside a couple times. Yeah.
So
that makes sense. My other thing,
lay it on
and
me.
maybe you have, this is the third final nitpicky detail. Sorry to you, sorry to everybody.
No,
but
don't. I love this.
The fact that one of the guys, when you find out he's the thing, I can't remember which person, but he knew that the Russian base was 50 miles away. But, and I don't know if it was the same guy, but then the guy at the end who, when she's like, oh, their piercing was in the other ear, and he reaches for the wrong ear. I'm like, well, how does, at one point it knows that the base is, it knows something that guy probably knew. And then he doesn't remember the earring is in the right ear.
So I think...
Just saying, that one I feel like...
So
you fucked up, alien. You're not that smart. Get out of here.
Here's how I'm remembering it.
Yeah.
They are getting ready to get into the thing. Not the thing. I can't even say the thing because of the thing.
It's not a plow, but the vehicle.
Snow vehicle.
Yeah.
And he says, there's a Russian base 50 miles that way.
Yeah. Okay, it was that guy. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then she says something about like, yeah, and then, it comes back, or like, we gotta go fight it or whatever. Like, we're not leaving here with it still existing or something. Like, I don't think it had like run away or something. Like, they were gonna go get help, but instead of that, like, they just decided, and then, give it more chances to get away kind of thing. They go to chase it instead to go kill it. And then that's when he switches into the thing, and then it comes back. Because he has the earring before, and then they go to chase after the guy. Because they see him running toward the ship. Or toward the tunnel that led to the ship.
But does he say the 50 miles away and then they go to the ship? I thought that was right when they're getting in.
Yeah, because I think they thought he was dead. So they were like getting ready to leave, and then they see him run, and then she convinces him, no, we gotta go stop him. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember now.
I want to pull it up, but I don't know if I still have it.
Yeah, I really, now I'm misremembering, but, or feel like I'm misremembering the detail. I thought it was almost right then, but maybe it was they're going to it and he said it and then they went and fought the thing and then came back.
I think so.
When yeah. I took it as, that was obviously the time that he got it or was infected. Infected is right, but I totally thought the detail. Well, maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe not. That's where people can also, again, make comments and comment
feel free
down
to
and tell me where I fucked up or maybe Jake fucked up. I'm always willing to accept the fact that maybe I made a mistake. But I did write it down at one point, so I believed it. That makes it maybe objectively wrong, though, still.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, wait. I think I found it.
So, while you're kind of looking that up, for the ending on that one, too, the dog ran away.
Right.
You see the dog running away. Did it just turn into the dog? I couldn't remember at that moment. Did they have a dog in the compound? Or
they did have a dog in the compound.
Okay. Because then I get how that ties into the first one.
Right.
Because of that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there is a dog in the beginning. I think there's one dog, and I think he runs away. I don't know that the thing actually gets him, or if it does, it doesn't ever have to, like, reveal itself.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's, like, gone at that moment. Yeah, crazy. But they were entertaining. Did you find the thing yet?
So he's running away. It's got nowhere to go. And then she says it's at the ship, but I haven't heard the Russian thing yet.
Oh, are you actually skimming through the thing?
Just checking really quick. No, don't do that.
I'm pretty sure it was at the end, right when they're getting in.
Probably right.
Then they get in and she says the thing about the piercing or something. Oh, I'm getting a little sneezy here.
Let me double check this, because you might be right. He says it right before they get into the thing, and then she notices that he doesn't have the earring. Yeah.
See?
But
there's an argument that it picked that up as one of the other things, but then I go, but it's only replicating cells, so how much of it's conscious?
But yeah, there's
transfer unless it's a whole body, or like there's stuff that I start getting too technical.
That also leads to the theory that if you were infected, you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, there's
so
that
too. he could still just have that knowledge and be thinking it and not even realize that. But then he goes to the wrong ear. Like you're acting
sort of independently, but then at any point the thing can just turn it on and be it. Because then you hear it, you don't see much, but you hear the noises it made when she burns him. It wants to
survive. So as soon as it hears something that, hey, this isn't going toward my survival,
then it activates.
Activates, kind of thing. I don't know. There's a lot of.
I
for
know
being
it's a whole
only 2
thing,
movies, I really wish there were a lot more.
Yeah. To kind of explore it a little bit. Maybe there'll be another one in like 10, 20 years.
The Things.
The Things. I mean, they could be multiple things. Like, they pretty much only focused on there being one at a time in the 82 one. Mm-hmm. But then there's but not really, because there ended up being 2, right? At one point when they're doing the test, technically.
Yeah.
Because didn't it freak out? But then the one sitting there freaked out or whatever. I'm trying to recall. I can't. Yeah. Might be. You have anything else, or should we do final comments?
Yeah, let's do final comments. I think I've spoken my piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm good on it.
Like I said, I really enjoyed these movies, I think, more than any of the other ones we've watched. They're all great in their own little ways. But this one really is a complete story to me. It doesn't need more sequels. I kind of like the ambiguous ending, which could prompt other sequels and blah, blah, blah. But and maybe there's a Thing 2. I don't think there's a Thing 2, but it kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know. But, for what they are, I enjoy them. There's also a video game. I think there's a video game and a comic series, but they don't need to keep the movies separate, keep them their own thing. Don't combine everything and all that stuff, because I just really, those 2 movies go together so well. And that's my
In
final
2004, director John Carpenter wanted to do a sequel to the 82 film with Kurt Russell and Keith David reprising their roles, respectively. Why was it canceled? Universal turned down the script. That's what it says. You heard it here, folks. Universal
It's an exclusive.
denied us from getting a second Thing movie before the prequel came out. So I don't know if the prequel would have been made differently.
I don't know.
Probably not, but the idea, the concept, maybe it wouldn't have been a prequel. I don't know.
Right.
Anyways, all right. Well, yeah, I enjoyed both. They were good. The 82 one, I was just I got so excited at the end of it. I was so ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
But
same.
I don't feel like I'd have good things to say about it. I could probably find some nitpicky things, but I didn't really look that hard on that one. So
right.
Sorry to the prequel, but at least you liked it a little bit more than I did.
I would still say I take the original over the prequel, but I like the prequel a little bit more than I did the last time I watched it because I've watched the original.
Here gives you a taste of the Rotten Tomatoes critics' consensus on the remake, prequel, whatever the hell, the 2011 one. It serves the bare serviceable minimum for a horror flick, but the thing is all booze scares and a slave to the far superior John Carpenter version. But technically, this was a prequel, right? So
yeah.
Do you call it the version? You could still say version because the version has so many definitions, I feel like. Anyways, all right. Well, stay warm out there or in here while you're chilling.
Yeah, stay warm in here by the fire where there isn't things out there that can get you.
No Antarctica. But maybe like a nice place like Colorado. Right? It's nice there here.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll go stay at the Overlook Hotel. That's a nice place to hang out, I hear, in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. Like, comment, subscribe.
This has been Story Shack. I'm Jake.
And I'm Zach. Take care, folks. Bye.